Brian, thanks for coming through and chatting to us about Long4Life. But I think really this is not a story about the results. This is about your building this company. Let's talk about your efforts over the past 11 months. How has it been?
Well, I think, if one looks back and from a standing start with basically nothing, not even an office or a computer,
sure.
I suppose one can be satisfied by the fact that we've now created a base, an EBITDA base of about 520 million in acquisitions that we've made over the period, even though in this particular year we're only reflecting 4 months, because those transactions became unconditional only in the 1st of November.
Yeah, and in terms of the companies that you have been getting in, building up Long4Life, how has that process gone? Has it been easy getting in the parts that you're looking for? Has it not been impacted by everyone was talking about the difficult economic environment of the past?
If I say it's easy, nobody will pay me a salary, so it's been very difficult.
As if you need the salary.
So, look, as I said, it's quite a long journey because the regulation in South Africa is time consuming. But I think as I said, I think from our point of view, we're happy with where we're at. We've got one acquisition which isn't in these numbers, which is Chill, which we hope to finalise on. We'll finalise on the 1st of March, but our price should get finalised during the course of the next 6 weeks or so.
Right.
And then we'll, as I said, we will have a base in which to work. I think, if I may just say that, I think the one thing that maybe is, I don't know, we're not really at proper scale yet. We're still a small cap, 5 billion market cap, it's still small. And so we're not really in the play yet. We need to get to 10. And then we can start to be a real player.
I think it's more the case that it's not really at the Brian Joffe level. Let's put it that way. I think 5 billion rand is no small change. Let's talk about what you have grouped together so far. So sport and recreation division, we've got personal care and wellness division, we've got beverages. So sort of disparate businesses, if you like. What are you trying to create in building Long4Life?
Well, I mean, we're really focusing on lifestyle and leisure type assets. So that's really where we're going. A bit opportunistic, because I mean, you could tell me, listen, beverages is not, but if you take some of the products that we got and some of the mixes, they are lifestyle type products that we've got. But I don't want to classify them very specifically. We're opportunistic, and in that particular field of lifestyle and leisure, generally speaking, is where we want to play.
Let's talk about that acquisition pipeline. How big is it?
Well, I think it's twofold. If you take the smaller acquisition pipeline, it's plentiful, and we've seen a lot of transactions, some of which we're likely to consummate in the next short while. But in the bigger scale, these things take time, and we've got 1 or 2 lined up that we're talking about and talking to, but nothing really that I could say that we're in an advanced stage of saying, listen, with these deals they get done. And in any case, with big deals, they get done or they don't get done. You know,
right.
Until the last minute, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. And where would those be? Is that still all focused on South Africa?
Yeah, I think from our size market cap, we're not venturing anywhere. We're only $400 million of market cap. It's very small.
Yeah.
So we're not an international player. We're concentrating on South Africa at the moment.
Yeah. And the size of that kitty?
Well, you know, it's 1.3 billion after paying for Chill. It's quite a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, it's more than that. I mean, it's a capacity. It's an ungeared 1.33 billion in the bank. So we've still got the gearing capacity of the businesses as well. So we're reasonably placed to do a reasonable size acquisition. We're able, in my opinion, to get to 10 billion as the next step. And hopefully within the next year or 6 to 18 months, we'll get there.
Absolutely. What about the assets that you are looking at? Are you restricted in any opportunities that you look at, or you have got particular companies or sectors that you want to try and get into Long4Life?
Well, we're trying to get involved in, as I said, in the leisure and lifestyle space.
Okay.
But the areas that we're not going to go to, we're not interested in financial services or banking.
You're not starting a bank?
No, we're not starting a bank. And we're not starting a mine. So whatever. So that's not a space we're going to. But other than that, opportunistic, we are.
Yeah. Let's talk about the environment in which we are doing this. Very different from 2017 with Jacob Zuma and his administration. We now have Cyril Ramaphosa. You were making me laugh earlier when we started the show where you were saying the R in the RAND now stands for Ramaphosa. How good has he been for creating an environment where possibly investors like yourselves find it easier to do their work?
Look, Cyril's a very, very competent man. So I should say Mr. Ramaphosa these days. I used to call him Cyril. I'm not allowed to do that anymore.
Now you can't.
Can't do that anymore. I think he's a very competent person, and you know, like all things, it takes a little bit of time. He really has only been in the job for a couple of months. And I think that what he's achieved has been quite remarkable. I think for the next year, I think we're still going to be in choppy waters until we get to the next election, and hopefully things will go well for him in that election.
Yeah.
And then I think we will start to see the benefits of his input into South Africa. And I'm optimistic. I think that South Africa will find itself on its feet for sure.
Yeah. Some free advice for him? I mean, we have seen the debacle around land expropriation without compensation, and some people are warning that what he's trying to do, going out to the world and saying, I need $100 billion over the next 5 years, and then coming back home and saying, I will take your property without compensation, is a contradiction in terms.
Well, I don't want to get involved in the political debate of whether it's good, bad, or
You're a
indifferent.
senior
I just hope they
citizen,
don't
Brian.
take my property.
I see. Okay, I think let's leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you
Brian
very much.
Joffe. Brian Joffe is the CEO of Long4Life, and I was hoping actually, in fact, before you go, I need to ask you about Bidvest. Do you miss it?
Well, it's different. I mean, Bidvest was a big animal, and therefore you had a lot of power, a lot of scope, and a lot of opportunity to express one's entrepreneurial flair. It's less so now. It's more restricted. So to some degree I do, but at the end of the day, it was my conscious decision to move on, and
True.
I'm glad I did.
Do you anticipate that you'll build Long4Life to the size and scale of Bidvest?
Well, you know, I was at Bidvest for 27 years, 28 years. I'm now 71. So if I take 71 plus 28,
Yeah.
gives you 99. I should be able to do it before I get to 100.
Absolutely. Robert Mugabe has been alive for 94 years, so you can do it. Brian Joffe, thanks very much for joining us, CEO of Long4Life.